Fear, the final frontier. These are the deliriums of media fake.
Good end of days, big fast America, and welcome to Troller Conson Twilight. Tonight, as the raving mad leftist libtards are still spreading mayhem around courthouses and peaceful neighborhoods, we tell you why, after 2 years, the overturn of Roe v. Wade is still a good turn towards the right path. For too long, liberal women were in the illusion that they do have a say, a choice, to stop or delay the productivity of the body God gave them, ignoring the divine fact that they are born to breed so we, civilized men, can occupy all space available. And so men of higher ranks can use the ever-increasing workforce to wage the ever-growing capitalist war over our heads, to sell us the results of your work for an ever-increasing profit. And they deserve it, since they work so hard at scaring off the earth in its place, so the flow never stops. What do you think will happen if there are less and less young people available to work? Society won't be able to sustain the ever-increasing mass the system demands for the demand for profit of the entitled. And we don't want that, for the fortunate possessing the world won't be able to attain their ever-growing anticipation for profit year after year. And some may even lose a yacht or a mansion or two, or, God forbid, a pan of their ego. So, to cut their loss and save face, they would have to cut on the money they generously make available to the lower classes and thus drive us into recession after recession. The real poverty, as in the third world we keep as is, to set an example for those who would dream of going against the grain. And, worst case scenario, I could be out of a job too. Oops! That already happened! But as a real American, I picked up myself by the straps of my boots and created my own job with my own news gutter. And, mind you, with no help from anyone on any level, because I'm a self-made man. Anyway, the end of Roe v. Wade is good for the economy. When you have children, you don't spit on a job to feed them. In fact, you have no choice. And luckily for the good job providers, you may even have to get a second job to make ends meet. Hence, you participate more in the creation of wealth. Not necessarily yours, as you may feel entitled, but creation of wealth nonetheless. For those who deserve it, at least.
So wake up, smokeskins, and be responsible.
Sorry for that. Now, forget about all that daydreaming that leads to nothing but discontent. Don't go astray wandering freely in your lives as well as in your mind. It only leads to disappointment and needless sufferings. So roll up your sleeves, take off your clothes, and come on down to provide a domestic supply of infants. So the ruling class can get more and more wealthy and powerful to urge us in the right direction, away from the illusions of free will, so we can freely follow our impulses and program desires as the conscript consumers we are. Lucky to have the right to live freely entrenched in the beaten track they flatten, like a steamroller leveling everything down to the lowest possible ground, and blessed with the freedom to unwind for a price, to endure the sacrifices our corporate mass leaders demand. And I think it's a fair compensation for our time, health, and conscience we must put aside for the privilege to serve. But I digress. Now, some bleeding hearts are talking about exceptions to allow abortions for, let's say, alleged unconsensual mating. To those, I'd repeat the wise advice Robert R.G. Reagan gave his daughters. Well, if rape is inevitable, just lay back and enjoy it. Because all sides matter, you know? And anyway, the strong male who takes what he wants only perpetuates the law of the strongest we see in nature. Win-win situation. So, frankly, the taken woman should be honored to have been chosen by an alpha male who would provide a strong offspring to perpetuate the race so we can get stronger. But if, and only if, the woman didn't do anything to attract the male to do his rightful deed, I'd quote former Congress member Todd Akin, who said, "If it's a legitimate rape, the female body has ways to shut that whole thing down." I wonder how that's different from an abortion. But anyway. Besides, if she dresses to look attractive and it arouses a male beyond his ability to control himself, how can she pretend she didn't want it to happen? How dare she comes crying she doesn't deserve the natural consequences? And what's to cry for? If she doesn't want the outcome, she can always drop it at the nearest adoption center. And with all that's going on, all the people our own personal private freedom piss all over the world, we're going to be in dire need of more and more poor schmucks enrolling to survive, if they're lucky, and defend our way of life, our God-given right to own and dispose of everything. Finally, as well as first and foremost, right here at home, true American women have a responsibility to make sure we keep in higher numbers, so we can preserve our natural way of life and keep up with our manifest destiny. So spread out, men and women, and make babies in chains. It's the command of the Almighty Dollar God. Unless the new Christian Republic establishes birth quotas for women between 14 and 40 during their next presidential mandate. Until next time, this is Troller Conson for the Cunning News Idiots, twisting you the truth no matter how many and how bad it hurts.
Oh.